Hey, this is Benny from CryptoKitties and Dapper Labs. I'm on the founding team member of CryptoKitties and I lead up growth in Asia. Extremely excited to be at Outliers. There's a lot of amazing talent here. For most of us, we were very interested more on the technology rather than the cryptocurrency. And as a company, we have a reputation of shipping some of the most amazing products. We launched CryptoKitties at ETH Waterloo. That was a hackathon in Canada. One could have a vision for identity or for a protocol, but it would be years and years until that's fully developed. And it's reverse of building startups traditionally, where it's about being lean and doing an MVP and testing your assumptions and getting users and customers, right? Something happened in the blockchain world where it was inverse, where people raise money and they then don't really know how to build a product or lead a team. And so one of the biggest questions was, where are the users going to come from? We arrived at a point where, games have been the adoption for a lot of platforms. If you look at Farmville, which is one of the most famous games on Facebook, in the early days of Facebook, Farmville actually drove about 60 to 70% of the traffic to Facebook. And the audience was international audience and the moms. And a funny story is that I actually know one of the co-founders of Zynga. He's based in Japan. And he was telling me a story of how soap opera or media companies were trying to sue Zynga. And he was saying they were suing them because the moms traditionally spent time watching soap operas in the TV room. And at that time, there's a computer room where the kids play, right? And what had happened is there's a huge drop-off of these soap operas because the mom went into the computer room and played Farmville with her friends. And so time and time again, for large platforms such as social media, etc., games have been the driver for adoption. And that was a big enough perspective to pursue. And that's why we decided, hey, you know what, identity and all of the important factors of blockchain, like the open finance, is very important. Bank the unbank, created from Omise Go. But more importantly is, let's convince the people, let's build a case for the people, for them to come and entertain themselves, and then learn about the blockchain when they get deeper. There were challenges in the smart contract. No one has ever put NFTs like we have on the blockchain. In terms of token standards, essentially what a token could do as addressed inside of the blockchain, we actually created the ERC-721 standard. The whole entire industry that uses the word non-fungible token, that was created by us. So NFTs is something that no one previously thought about before. Everyone thought about generating tokens that are all the same, that are fungible. And whether it's an ICO or whatnot, they're all the same. So thinking beyond, like, hey, in some time in the future, in an economic system, just like in real world, we have cash and money in our pocket. But we also have houses and cars and things that we own. And those types of assets have not been translated into the blockchain. So hence why we created the token standard for ERC-721. Then we created the smart contracts for CryptoKitties that had genetics and breeding and auction, which was entirely new. There are three things that, as a new entrepreneur, at least in the blockchain space, should think about. And I think the first one, which is probably the most heaviest one, is about the users. There has been so many years of experience of entrepreneurs who have built many amazing companies that have come from all around the world and also in Silicon Valley. And they have all shared their learnings, and there's so many accelerators. But something about the inverse of fundraising through a token sale shifted the mindset of traditional product development, which involves the user. So something that we've learned even through this discussion is that for us, we have like an obsession with the user. We have an obsession with the market, and we want to figure out what is the pain point. And this is nothing new. And I think that, some people think that there's like new things to learn, but no, really, like if you focus on the users and their pain points, then you could derive an innovative solution or an interesting solution that could solve that pain point. So first thing is always focus on the user, never lose sight of that. No matter how technical or how smart, you have a PhD from Stanford who's on your team and tells you, hey, like this is like secret sharing, this is like the newest technology, that you should always take a step back and be, what is the benefit for the users? So that's the first point. The second point is something about growing teams. The process that we have at our company is that we hire very slowly, but we fire really fast. This is not new again, and something that we apply from actually learning from a lot of advisors. We have advisors from Airbnb and Facebook who have taught us a lot about these processes. And so our process takes a long time, we're very rigorous, and we have cultural values that stay with us no matter what we do. And so, fortunately enough for us, we haven't let go of that many people. In fact, actually way less than a lot of other companies. And actually, interesting enough, a lot of people who, engineers or designers who leave or graduate from our company and go work at Facebook and Google, they sometimes come back. And we've had a couple of employees who have done that. So building a team is very important to set those process and these expectations, but more importantly, the cultural values is very important. So the third point is something that I think about a lot, and it's more of a personal thing. And it has to deal with the vision of the company, and it has to deal with the why. When we started to build CryptoKitties or get into the blockchain space, we had this filter on us where we're just not looking at the charts or the graphs. I understand that there are people who have made a ton of money from investing and whatnot, but to me that is not important, because at the end of the day, as kind of as dark as this kind of metaphor is, it's like on your tombstone, right? What do you want it to say on there, right? Does it matter that you participated in these syndicates and Telegram and made a few $100,000? No one's gonna care, and your family's not gonna care. But what's important is the impact, the amount of people you have affected. So for me, I constantly, and our team constantly search for an understanding of why. Like, why do we decide to spend our weekend, our time to build certain things, to build more games, to build CryptoKitties? And if that answer of the why is not clear, and if we do not have a reason why we should spend all this time, then we should really not be building what we're building. And I think the point of Outliers is to form those communities and those friendships, right? We do believe in forming these communities that we could explore these interesting topics that give us depth and give us a reason to continue to push on. Because the entrepreneurial route is really shaky and complex and difficult, and we understand that you need to be in an environment that fosters growth. So what Outliers is doing is building these communities, and there's so much shared learning that could be shared here, right? Hence why all of the presentations and you guys are traveling around the world and presenting your amazing projects to investors and to other people, right? And for us, we entirely believe in initiatives that are focused on that rather than the price. And we encourage other accelerators to educate and to inform what is entrepreneurship, why is the blockchain important, what is the impact on the world. So in that sense, Outliers is doing an amazing job in forming these communities. Our vision is to make experiences that are the easiest for people to play blockchain games or play blockchain consumer experiences. And we're doing that in several ways. In terms of the two initiatives that we pursue, one is we're forming a studio. We have game designers from EVE Online, Ubisoft, Disney, Zynga. We have the creative director from FIFA who have joined our team, and they're continually exploring interesting game mechanics with blockchain and building amazing games. So the studio will continue to build games, and we also, of course, have CryptoKitties, which will continue to grow. But the studio is also partnering up with Hollywood studios, gaming companies, celebrities, sports leagues, and even esports teams to build blockchain games as well. The other initiative for the company is building tools and potentially an eventual platform. So what we noticed from CryptoKitties being the world's first blockchain game, it's very difficult for people to onboard to play these games. Conversion rate is horrible, to be honest. So what we realized is that, okay, the third-party tools in this ecosystem, they're so focused on building technical solutions, but they don't focus on the users. Through the time that we've been working on CryptoKitties, we never got a call from a wallet and said, hey, you know what? You guys have been driving all of the users for our wallet, so how can we make this better? We never had that, but it's a missing link. So what we did is we picked up the phone and we talked to all of the CryptoKitties players and we asked, hey, what are the pain points? What don't you like? And so we're building tools and a platform to help our blockchain games become much more easier to play. Going from 14 steps to 10 to 3 to 1 step to play a game. And these tools are not only for our games, but they will be for the entire industry. Our mission is to bring 1 billion people to the blockchain. And we think that with games and entertainment, a lot of people will come in and then they will find out that blockchain makes a lot of sense to their daily lives. So that is the vision of the company for Dapper Labs. Now, what gets us continually motivated is these potential support networks that we have all around us. All the way ranging from investors and team members and advisors. Every day we have these discussions with them and we're really inspired. And not only that, we have the time, we're not rushing, we want to take our time to really invest and to think about the future.